Well, percenters, welcome back to 1424 basketball training where the goal is to take 14 minutes, 24 seconds, or 1% of your day to get better. Got the blue Yeti plugged in, so it's red actually for some reason. Don't know what I ordered. Reaction video, why BOL BOL rides the bench. Let's see what he has to say. AM Hoops.
BOL BOL liked to tweet saying he's free BOL BOL. BOL BOL liked to tweet saying he should get traded.
Free BOL BOL.
People want free BOL BOL. BOL BOL liked.
He liked a tweet saying he should be traded. Can the Nuggets trade BOL BOL, please? And he liked it.
The tweet saying he should get traded. People want to unleash his freakish talents. He's like 7'2" with smooth ball handling and an equally smooth jumper. And if any team could use BOL BOL's potential this year, it would be Denver. They have more injuries and COVID guys than anyone.
That's a lot of injuries.
Now even BOL BOL is making noise about a trade, but why is he being held back?
He's got no leverage for being traded.
I know people root for BOL BOL because he's got freakish size and length plus skills, but more people should root for his backstory. He's one of Manute Bol's 10 kids. Most people focus on the fact that Manute was 7'6", or that he killed a lion with a spear for his tribe, or that he once paid 150 cows for his wife.
People are different. People killed a lion. Times are different, man.
Which is all true, by the way. But once he got to America in the NBA, he went on a mission.
This guy's going way too slow. I have ADD. I need to watch this on 1.5. At least I would normally watch in 2.
Manute's home country of Sudan was locked in a civil war for 21 years. BOL BOL was born in Sudan, but they moved to the U.S. shortly after.
Oh, you got to be thankful to be born in the U.S. As screwed as it is here. You got to be thankful, man. I don't know what it's like in Serbia, but from all accounts, Sudan is way harder than America, it looks like, and be grateful.
And it was dangerous to go back home. So even though Manute only made a little over $5 million in 10 years in the league,
that's got to be a lot of money to Sudan.
He sent most of that money to other people. He funded the Super
Bowl. Yeah, man, you got to love this guy.
Sudanese rebel army to fight the government. His big dream was to build 41 schools in Sudan once there was peace.
And so it kind of brings you perspective, like, why is BOL BOL tripping? Why is Manute Bol's son BOL BOL tripping about being traded? He gets to ride the bench, make tons of money. Look at where he came from. Look at where his dad came from. That's crazy.
Mix different kids of different backgrounds so there wouldn't be another war. But he died before that happened. The only time that BOL BOL has been back to Sudan since he was born was to attend his father's funeral when he was just 10 years old. At that point, BOL wasn't even in love with basketball. His dad had to beg him to use his natural gifts. BOL says he really started grinding at basketball once his first mixtape went viral. It was BOL as a 6'5", 7th grader. Quote, "It was the first time that the world really saw me play. I just got a lot of positive feedback. It made me like basketball even more." Which
people are driven by different things. If you never grew up in a rough neighborhood, I grew up on welfare, single. Parents got divorced at 3. Never talked to my dad since. We were broke, man. I had to work for everything, and it's different when you try to train your kids or teach your kids. The hardship, the environment shapes you so much without you knowing it.
She's awesome, by the way, but liking the attention kind of became a pattern. And look, I'm not saying that wanting to be famous is a bad thing. I think we all have a little bit of that. I just think that it can go way overboard if it's your only focus. And that's what happened to BOL. He ended up going to 4 different high schools in 4 years, trying to chase that ranking. He ended up as the number 3 overall prospect in 2018, and he went to Oregon. He dominated at Oregon because of protein shakes, which is actually completely false, but I've heard a lot of like shady supplement companies claim stuff like that. That is a big reason why I really.
Oh my God! Wait! That's a slick way to put it in an ad.
Muscle, I'm like that. Anything that, and also
get out of here.
Legion, a lot of just like shipping. Averaged about 20 points and 10 boards, shooting 52% from 3. He dominated everyone who challenged him. Then, just 9 games in, BOL fractured his foot.
There are levels to every single level that you're at. High school basketball, 8th grade, middle school. Every level you move up: freshman team, JV team, varsity team, and then there's levels between varsities and varsities at different schools. Every time you move up. College, always all the same. You got to re-earn everything. There's steps, man. At every step you go up, you basically enter at the bottom, right? You might think, I don't know, middle school, high school, like D3 or something like that, or JUCO down here, right? And then you got D2, D1, and then you got NBA, and then you got, like, perennial superstars, LeBron, these guys. There's levels to every single place that you go.
required 2 screws and a bone graft from his own pelvis. That really scared NBA front offices before the draft, but there was something even more concerning.
So when I talk about mechanics and micro injuries, little things and how you move will either really prolong your career or, send it off a cliff. All of a sudden it appears. So foot injuries are major for any athlete that runs on their foot a lot, especially taller, heavier guys that don't have like great mobility. It just is what it is. Yao Ming, Shaq, all of these guys had foot problems. Yeah. So it would definitely scare off GMs and stuff like that for a long-term investment into a player.
Said that Bulls' red flags were, quote, frail, entitlement, etc. Too many questions.
Frail entitlement. This might be the biggest one, entitlement, and then frail in terms of investment. Oh, good Lord, NBA executive. So if one guy says this, remember, these are all kind of cohorts, right? Executives talk to other executives. So if you're a player, coaches talk to other coaches. So if you leave my school and go to another school, am I going to give you a good review? If a coach calls me for recruiting, are you going to get a good review, bad review? I'm going to give you the honest thing. Will you contribute to their team or not? You got to leave a good mark wherever you go, even if you're unhappy.
And nobody in Bulls' background, multiple high schools, 9 games of.
Too many questions. Nobody's advocating for him. That's why. Jesus Christ.
Advocate for him. Yeah, 4 high schools and 1 college, and not a single person would step up to vouch for his character. So even though he was invited to the draft green room, where normally just elite prospects go, no one picked him in the first round. Finally, the Nuggets traded into the middle of the second round to get him. But just like they did with Michael Porter Jr., the Nuggets would not play him early on. Coach Michael Malone's one of those like hard-ass old school dudes who doesn't trust rookies. Plus, Denver is
If I didn't know this about Mike Malone, if he's an old school hard-ass, the entitlement behavior is gonna be very, very rough.
I mean, guys on losing teams like the Thunder will get a chance to develop. Not on the Denver Nuggets. Then they had no choice in the Orlando bubble. The Nuggets had a ton of injuries and no depth, so they had to play BOL BOL in the first scrimmage, and he dropped 16 points, 10 boards, and 6 blocks against the Pelicans. How could they bench him now? Well, they basically did, outside of garbage time, and they made the conference finals. It's been 3 years now, and people are upset about BOL BOL not getting minutes because we've seen how freakish he is. BOL even hinted that he wants to be traded, which we'll touch on in a second, but I decided to do a deep dive on his NBA career to find out why does he not get minutes. So first, the positives. It is a myth that BOL BOL doesn't play because they had Nikola Jokic. I've heard some people say that. It's just flat out wrong.
That's not true. I mean, Jokic could play with anybody.
And BOL shared the court a lot last year, and some of his best highlights have come with Jokic this season. Look at the beautiful 2-man chemistry they had against the Rockets on this play. The second myth is that he is really bad on defense. We all know he can block shots, but he also affects opponent's shot on the perimeter. He'll either force like an awkward arc that makes the guy miss, or they're just afraid to go inside against him. I watched every single minute that BOL has played this year and most of last year, and I almost never saw teams hunting BOL on defense like he's the weak link.
I don't think he's a problem on defense in terms of like one-on-one. I'm sure he's going to be a solid wing help as well.
Was basically an average defender, if anything, but not a huge negative. Another positive, he is unstoppable in transition on offense. Once BOL gets on the fast break, he almost always scores and takes advantage of the defense not getting set. My favorite highlight of this year was a steal on one end and a dunk on the other against the Mavericks.
How fast is he going to get out? Is he going to lead the break? Is he going to be the one dribbling coast to coast like Joker? That means he's got to get the rebound. Is he going to be out and running the wing way ahead? Probably not, because he's actually not that nimble, or not as I don't know if nimble is the word. He's pretty nimble, explosive.
I take it back. I think I was most impressed by him not bending at his knees to tie his shoes. Seriously, I mean, you should try that. Like, it's impossible unless you're BOL BOL. Okay.
Hamstring flexibility. That's easy.
Now the negatives. You know this dude is young because of these stupid decisions that he makes. You see BOL choose to take a contested
shot selection. So when I talk about mind, body, craft, he needs a lot of work on his body. So mechanically and strength wise, and athleticism, agility, craft, he's pretty skilled. He can dribble, he can shoot. Mind, this is what he's talking about. AM hoops right here. Shot selection, entitlement. This is all mind stuff. So it looks like this is the biggest detriment to BOL BOL.
Crazy shot with a teammate wide open all the time. Any NBA coach would hate that. That gets young guys benched, especially from Michael Malone. Wide open decisions that he makes. You see BOL choose to take.
So you might think, like, especially younger players, if they get trash minutes or garbage minutes, or they're trying to prove themselves, they're trying to show off what they can do in the sparing minutes that they get. And it's a myth that coaches are only looking for, stat sheet stuff.
A contested crazy shot with a teammate.
That's a tough shot. Like right here, this isn't a bad shot if he can make it. Obviously, he doesn't make it, but this is a, more easier pass. Bad coaches will look at the result all the time. You got to really see what they do in practice, and are they taking these shots in practice? Are they making them in practice? So you can skew the video or film or stats all in terms of whatever narrative you want. But a little step back like that, I'm not super upset about that. This thing, you see Joker shoot this thing all the time, but then if he misses, he rebounds it.
It's young guys benched.
Like, does it look good? It always looks good if it goes in, but are these guys practicing these moves on the regular, and do they make it regularly in practice and in training or their day-to-day stuff?
Especially from Michael Malone. Now, his tools on defense are good. We've already seen that, but he's just so...
I don't know. I can't judge for Mike Malone. Obviously, he sees something. He sees him all the time. So it might be a mentality thing. It might be a bad shot selection thing. It might be a work ethic thing. Who knows?
Inconsistent. Sometimes it's being too skinny and he gets overpowered. Sometimes it's just low effort and an easy move gets fine. But the worst parts are his mental mistakes, which he makes all the time. Just look at him leave George Niang in the corner here for some reason, or barely trying to get to Cam Johnson. This one is the worst though. His man, DeAndre Ayton, takes a three. Bol is nowhere to contest. Then after Phoenix gets the board, Bol is just in no man's land.
So that's all mental stuff. Like how much effort are you going to put? If he has a pattern of leaving, for high schools and then college, if he has a pattern of leaving when it gets tough, like, of course he's going to like the tweet that says, trade him. It doesn't matter. He needs to understand that the stuff is following him and it's not necessarily the coaches, especially if all these coaches aren't vouching for him. He's got a lot of growing up to do, it sounds like.
Ignoring no one. He followed that play up.
Like, you can get away with a lot of physical gifts and craft gifts early on when you're playing lower competition, high school, college. But in the NBA is a whole nother level. So just being 7'2" or whatever it is, highly skilled, it's not enough.
With a lazy turnover, that kind of stuff makes it obvious why he gets benched. But I think his biggest problem goes all the way back to childhood. This week, Bol liked a tweet that said, "Can the Nuggets trade Bol Bol, please? Just have
I agree a lot with what this guy says.
Talent riding on the bench for 3 years. If that's the kind of passive aggressive said, can the Nuggets trade Bol Bol, please? Just have talent riding on the bench for 3 years. If that's the kind of passive aggressive stuff that Bol will do in public, just imagine what he's like behind the scenes. Michael Porter Jr. recently said, quote, "I'm trying to stay in his ear because Bol Bol, he can be a part of this team and help us do big things. It's just going to take a mindset change." Ooh, if that's what his
that's bad, man. I mean, that is really bad.
Teammate is willing to say in the media, it's probably not good. This is exactly what people were afraid of before he got drafted. He fell in love with basketball because he loved the attention.
I mean, if I'm the Nuggets GM, I'm keeping him around and I'm selling him the other way. I'm keeping him as a piece. He might be a valuable piece to be traded, and maybe somebody else wants to take a chance on developing his mentality.
That he skipped around to different high schools trying to get a better ranking. No one stepped up for him when scouts called him entitled. If all that attitude has followed him into the NBA, I think that is what's holding him back more than anything. People talk about intangibles all the time with young guys in basketball, and they're usually talking about leadership. I think there's actually two other intangibles that are even more important. Number one is availability, and we have seen how bad that can get with Zion Williamson.
Leadership, intangibles, the best ability, availability. So whether it's ankles, hips, the Rona, availability.
Number two is maturity. Kevin Porter Jr. just left the Rockets arena at halftime the other night.
What?
His coach challenged his effort, and that's a pattern for him. I don't care how much talent a guy has if he's not mature enough to be a professional. Bol Bol has all the skill in the world, but people are talking about a trade. I don't care what team he's on, unless his intangibles catch up, we'll never see his.
Like, maturity, it takes time, it takes wisdom, and wisdom comes from experience, and that comes from a lot of mistakes. So if you've been sheltered or bubbled your whole life and people don't let you make mistakes or help you become accountable for your mistakes, or you're never taking ownership of your mistakes, maturity is going to take a long time. Maturity is not correlated to age. I have discussion a lot with my wife. We used to argue about this all the time. She thinks just because you get older, you become more mature. I don't know why I drew this line here. Age is not correlated with maturity. You can be young and go through a lot of hardships and stuff like that, and you can develop a ton of coping skills, problem solving skills, creativity skills, all these different things from tough situations growing up, adverse situations growing up. If you've been growing up and your mom and dad have been taking care of everything for you, by the time you get to 18, whatever, to the real world, and then you're hit with responsibility, accountability, getting fired, people not liking you, all of this stuff is going to be, you know, a rude awakening.
But one guy we are going to see on the court soon is Klay Thompson, and we just got a totally unexpected update about his return. Here, check it out.
Oh my God, a great video. I got a lot of knowledge from that. Like BOL BOL, whoo, man. It's mentality. You know, how hard is it to change somebody? If you guys didn't know, obviously I'm a psychologist. It's very, very hard to change somebody, especially when they don't want to change. You can't change somebody if they're not ready for it. It's just nearly impossible. I've been working with people for damn, I'm old, over a decade. I've been working with clients for over a decade, and people, they progress at the rate that they're ready to progress. And some people, they come seeking your help, thinking that they need help, but when you offer them the help, they don't take the steps. So it takes a long time. Behavioral therapy takes a long time, and that looks like what BOL BOL needs. And Mike Malone's definitely not the developer type. He's the tough love type. Are you guys more tough love? What's the opposite? Soft love. There's developers, and then there's, you know, leaders that are just pushers. All right, guys, until next time, take 14 minutes, 24 seconds, or 1% of your day to get better. Peace.